Love the golden cat, yeah. Love the golden cat. I love the velvet hat, you know, the one that caused a revolution. Love the velvet hat.
Well, a good question to ask, or a question that that gets asked a lot is can you recall when you first met Marc?
First met or first saw?
Both.
Because I used to see him around all the time before I met him, in restaurants, at sort of gigs. I was obviously working photographer long before I started photographing Marc. And I was never overly interested. I mean, he was interesting visually, but I wasn't a huge fan of music. I liked it, but I wasn't, you know, I was into other sorts of music at the time. And then he drifted into electric music, and I'd stayed very much with sort of underground bands and stuff like that. So when I was actually asked to photograph him, all I'd heard was the press stuff about, you know, teeny bopper band, Marc Bolan sells out, blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't actually that interested until a friend of mine, who was a guy called Bill, who used to do the light system at the Roundhouse, basically said, you should do, because this guy's great visually. You know, the gigs were a real hoot, because he used to do the lights for Marc as well. And so he kind of talked me into sort of agreeing to photograph him. And when Marc came round, because I wanted to start with a studio session, which is actually here, this table is still there as well, how about that? And we sat, and to sort of break the ice, we got stuck into this strange liqueur I got from Ibiza when I'd been out there, called Herbitas, which was kind of like dynamite, right? And we just got completely trashed, him, me and Mickey, sitting there, you know, sort of chatting away. And that was the first time I actually spoke to him and actually met him properly. And then we went on and did these rather bizarre photographs, which you've probably seen on a grey background in black and white, and we're sort of leaping around like this. And
yeah.
So it was put out of their heads, like, dramatically. That was the first time I met Marc.
Right.
And we got on very well. So they liked those pictures. I'm never quite sure how I felt about them. They were very drunken. I think they were quite fun to do, and they quite enjoyed the evening. And often as a photographer, you're hired not simply because of what you are as a photographer, but more because the people quite enjoy spending some time with you. So it's a kind of a package deal, right? You know, because you do have to hang out there. And so they asked me to do the gig, and then, you know, I fell for the whole legend thing, because the gigs were just insane. I did the Boston gig. That's the first time I saw T.Rex live, with the legendary, you know, the glider drum.
Yeah.
120 odd people threw themselves off balconies in ecstasy.
Friends magazine was there.
Yeah, look,
you don't remember Steve Took being there?
No, it was in Boston. I went on the T.Rex to see Coach with various other people. I didn't go out with Marc or anything.
Yeah.
And I went there, and I walked out on the stage like a few minutes before they came on to find a vantage point to snap away. And saw this sea of faces like a Nuremberg rally holding up these pictures of Marc, and which completely blew me away. And did my bit at the gig. And then we're back on the coach. I've been in the dressing room for a bit. I don't remember Tookie being in the dressing room. If he was, it was quite low key. And
right.
Those were the confrontational days. So if he had been there, I'm sure it would have been memorable.
Yeah.
Does seem to have been to the people who were there.
Yeah, his girlfriend Lou remembered.
I'm not saying he wasn't there. I'm saying he wasn't there when I was there.
Yeah.
I didn't stay long. I mean, I didn't hang out. I've never liked dressing rooms.
Mick Gray remembers it as well.
Yeah, Mickey Gray remembers when he wants to remember.
Yes, it's slightly different.
And you can quote me on that. Mickey Gray, the authority on T.Rex, yeah, right. Mickey O'Halloran's all right.
And of course you filmed. Well, you were the photographer for the Wembley gig that was used for Born to Boogie.
Yeah, I did quite a lot of gigs, a lot in America as well. I'm quite good at live gigs because, you know, coming up through the underground press and club situation, I can live with low light levels, and when you're getting kicked about, you know, I'm good in riots. And so, you know, I always came back with something, so I got kind of known for doing live gigs. So Rex asked me to do a lot, because they were pretty tough gigs. I mean, you know, the crowds were frenzied. I remember Ringo saying after the Wembley gig, it was like being in the Beatles in the early days. You know, that sort of